A veteran actress from the UK named Jacqueline Bisset recently spoke to Page Six in an interview where she condemned the Me Too movement and said that she's actually unsympathetic to a lot of the anecdotes that have come from actresses over recent years about sexual harassment, assault, etc. She's actually calling them out because she thinks they should feel more responsibility for their own safety. And this is quite an old world, antiquated point of view.
Her and Chappell Roan wouldn't get along.
Not at all, no.
Chappell Roan would be like, but I don't want to get my own health insurance. I want my record label to pay for my health insurance for me.
Else to do it for me.
Jacqueline Bisset admits she is unsympathetic toward women who came forward during the Me Too movement, and she feels that women are partially to blame for any sexual harassment. I think they're putting some spin on this, and that's not exactly what she said.
Also, turning 80 will turn you, you're just like, you don't care anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You just let it fly.
That's kind of why I love J.K. Rowling. She's someone who...
Turning
just,
80.
She's like allowed to say whatever she wants because she's so rich.
Well,
It's been 45 years since I've been hit on, and damn do I miss it.
So here she says... perhaps women are free of blame if you don't know anything about men, but she added that she is very unsympathetic to these stories, these Me Too things. You have to be very careful about what you put out there. The Me Too movement from back in 2017 followed the exposure of movie producer Harvey Weinstein. Dozens more men in the fields of politics, media, and entertainment were also brought down by the Me Too movement. They mention here Louis C.K., Matt Lauer. There were countless other examples.
Forgot about Matt Lauer.
Jacqueline Bisset suggests that as an antidote to possible harassment, women need to learn the word no or the F word or something. And you have to do it, and you can get through it without any problem. She also says that despite starting out as an actress in the late 60s and in the 70s, she never experienced any sexual harassment. Really? And I do find that hard to believe.
She was the girl back in the 70s. She was a sex symbol.
She said, I was very determined not to have anything happen to me, and I was completely devoted to that idea. And I guess perhaps it could be that maybe with these Me Too accounts, you're encouraged to retroactively reinterpret what happened to you or what you experienced to make it something it wasn't.
That could be, but also considering the time, like the context that she was in when her star was at its apex, she probably behaved in a way that made it clear that it was professional, that she was not like, there are times where women won't realize that they're flirting, and a lot of times they don't know that they're flirting with guys, or they don't understand men enough to say, this guy will think I'm flirting with him. Mm-hmm. That happens all the time. I like female friends that I have and stuff, like they'll say, oh, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, he thought you were flirting with him. And they're like, no. And I'm like, look, if you're being nice to a guy, the guy thinks you're flirting with him. Like, that's literally the way that it is. Guys overestimate how much a woman likes them, and women underestimate how much guys like them. That's evolutionary, because if men didn't overestimate how much women like them, they wouldn't take the chance and shoot their shot.
Which is why it's a problem these days, because men don't take the chance because they underestimate themselves, if anything.
But it has historically been a thing. Men will overestimate, which is why women get hit on way more than they want to be, because they are nice to guys and they feel like maybe they don't want to be rude, they don't want to insult the guy, and so they're nice, and the guy takes that as, oh, she likes me. Yeah. So it's a miscommunication that's built into people, and so I mean that's the long and short of it, So.
It's literally wired into men's brains to think that women are more interested in them than they are.
It's like when, and then the girls will tell the stories about, like, and the guy went back to his friends and was like, oh, she was totally into me.
Yes.
And your bros, they know you're probably full of shit.
Yeah.
But they understand as men that is just biologically programmed into them, unless they have really low self-esteem.
And the reason is because that's what's necessary to continue the species.
Yep.
Right.
Like, this is not about men are bad and women are bad or whatever. That is just straight up. This is what has been necessary for the species to continue. If it wasn't that if that wasn't the case, men wouldn't think like that. That wouldn't have become something that is emergent in men and emergent in women. Women are nice because they don't want to upset men, because honestly in the past it's been dangerous for women to upset men. Men that get upset and they don't control themselves historically could subject women to violence. Women have been like, okay, I don't want to upset him. I don't want to make him mad. And even when like my girlfriend has been in situations where like there was a dude that was, and this is a while ago, but a dude was giving her weird kind of blah, blah, blahs. And I'm like, you should have split. And she's like, well, I kind of didn't want to make him mad. That's a legitimate thing to say. If you upset, and it was like a kind of a crazy dude. Like he was like, I think he was a homeless guy. But that's the thing. It's like, if you upset a man, it is possible that he resorts to violence. So this is it's a dangerous world that women live in. And so these are just evolutionary traits that don't make women bad or don't make men bad. It's just the way that things are.
It's actually crazy how much of the Me Too movement is resultant of straight up evolutionary psychology. And if we knew the basic 101 of that, there would have never been such a thing.
And combined with the desire for fame,
yes,
and the power
combined with all these different motivations,
and combined with women being in the workforce.
Yes, well, yeah. So like first we had to they had to get them in the workforce. Then they had to give them a reason to move away from their small town and go and try and seek fame elsewhere. And then you put them in a situation with a bunch of self-serving executives who want to use all of the power that they have to convince people to enter into situations where they're going to be forced to say no in a way that they've never had to do before.
Yep.
And that's exactly what one of these comments said. I agree with her. Sometimes the slightest bit of friendliness can be interpreted as a come on by asinine males.
No.
This is true.
Well,
this is true.
Not asinine men. That is just the way men are. So like
maybe the way men are is a little bit asinine, but yes, I get your point.
Look, you need that asinineness to keep humanity going.
Without that, it is not.
Yeah.
Human beings don't.
Even coming in down to how that specific trait is portrayed in movies and TV, whereas back in the day, think of when we saw Twisters, and he's he's a bit forward with her. Now they don't get romantically involved, but his pursuant nature to her could have very easily been framed in an extremely negative light. Rather, in the movie, they portray him as self-assured and somebody who women would be attracted to, whereas that trait, historically in the last decade or so, is not looked upon kindly, and the person is turned into a caricature of somebody who is rebuffed, but then continues to pursue, even though they give them clear signs that they don't want their advances. Whereas what actually happens is they kind of muffle their rebuffing of them, and they're like, and then the signals are mixed, and it's not nearly as clear as it's actually portrayed in a film in real life.
The reason why the debate about Me Too is so frustrating to me from both sides is that one side is asking men not to be men, and the other side is asking women not to be women. Men, it's true, overestimate women's interest in them. Yep. They also underestimate women's fear of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And women definitely have their own preconceived notions about male psychology, and they assume it's far more like female psychology than it is. And they assume that men are clued into certain subtexts that only women are clued into.
Women look at men that they don't know as threats. That's the knee-jerk reaction, because the cost is too high not to, right? Like, we live in a society that's mostly peaceful and mostly chill, right? But if women aren't careful around men they don't know, they can be in serious trouble because of the fact that men are the ones that commit violent acts, and women, if a woman is attacked, the repercussions are so bad. Like, it's not that it happens often or that it happens regularly or whatever, but the cost is so high.
And
Like-
there's this utopian idea that they struggle with, where it's the meme, it's the infographic that says teach your daughters to protect themselves, teach your son not to harm women.
Yeah,
that's
Right.
great. That's great, but that's not how the real world works. That's a utopian idea that everybody can get along if everybody just acted the way we need them to in society. But the thing is, you're framed as callous and rude if you say it's still a good idea to learn how to protect yourself.
Teach your daughters to carry a gun and shoot that gun. That's exactly what you should do.
You know, everything Jacqueline Bisset is saying in this interview comes off like she was just raised better than these younger actresses were raised. Like, she just had parents who told her the truth about the world and about men and women.
There's also an inherent nature, like there's an inherent pragmatism to this generation that's just lost on today. Pragmatism has been completely destroyed in favor of a weird type of pseudo-idealism that isn't real, but then everybody they get to pretend as if the world should be this ideal place and then be angry when it continually doesn't turn out to be that place.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Phil's like, no, I don't like my suitcase.
It's
Right now.
This is total role reversal. During the whole, like, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Brett had no desire to dance or whatever, and I was in there doing the golf swing and doing the whole
alone.
eating the thing.
I'm all alone now. The only one dancing. But you know, it's not just teaching your daughters to like carry weapons or have situational awareness. It's also teaching your daughters things that maybe in absolute numbers aren't true, but in principle are true, like men are dogs. Like your father is supposed to tell you not to trust any man and just assume all men are dogs. They only want one thing.
100%.
And once you imbibe that message in the spirit of the law, you will understand it better in the letter of the law. And that's, you know, moments like when you need to be a bitch. Like those moments are abound if you're a young woman in the world, especially a young woman in an environment like Hollywood, of all places.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's a lot of common sense lost on people now.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.